it going, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of The Weekend Whistle. I'm Chris. This is Maul. Maul's over there. This is a little teaser, a little taste of the things that went down during the weekend between episodes, stuff that we feel like we need to talk about before the podcast happens. Bro.
Dude, what? Holy crap. From when we released the episode last Wednesday to today,
yeah,
holy shit, what a crazy week of hockey it's been. And what a better
season.
week
It's the great
to launch this show. Yeah, right. And what a better week to launch this show.
I know, it's perfect. So we're going to start off with some signings, some important signings that I feel like need to be discussed. And let's, the Devils locked up one of the other Hughes brothers. Luke Hughes signed a 7-year, $63 million deal. If my math is correct, it's a 7x9 contract. Luke Hughes, 22 years old, 155 regular season games, 93 points. What are your thoughts on this? Because I mean, last year he had 44 points in 71 games, 7 goals, 37 assists. He's going into his 3rd year in the league. Do you think that New Jersey jumped the gun?
See, I don't know, because I feel like going into your 3rd season, like this is the point where, like, we have to remember his first season was like prime COVID time, right?
No, his first season was 2023, 2024.
Right. Well, that's, I mean, towards the end of like COVID and stuff like that. So it's like
full season back, I think.
He didn't get like a taste of like what hockey's all about, right? And then he comes in his 2nd season and he's kind of getting a little bit more underneath of him. And we've seen, like, you see his stats are getting better season after season, right?
44 points. I feel like they is a good, as a defenseman, 44 points, 37 assists isn't anything to sneeze at.
Right. And like, do I feel like they jumped the gun? I mean, no, because I feel like when a pro player hits like their 3rd or 4th season, that's when they get out like the jitters. You know what I mean? Like they're comfortable getting on the ice.
You need about
they know what
200
to expect.
games to like get your feet under you.
Yeah, they know what to expect. They know what it's like to go to all the arenas. They know what they're getting themselves into. Like, this is their time where it's like make or break. Now, yes, you do have like the Connor Bedards and the Sidney Crosbys, you know, and the players that just hit the ground running all the time, right?
Yeah.
But someone like Luke Hughes, like his family is ingrained in hockey, and you know, get to the 3rd season and get a massive contract like this, I think that you're going to see him perform a lot better this year than ever before, because now he has that drive. You know, it's like, hey, we paid you, prove you're worth it.
So here's my biggest thing, right? Is you got to stay healthy. Like, he has kind of dealt with a little bit, like Jack did last year, dealing with a little bit of injury. Obviously, 71 games. He missed 9 games, or 11 games rather, last year. But yeah, it's crunch time, and I think this is another one where you have now forced Quinn Hughes' hand. It's very clear. We talked about it last season. Quinn Hughes does not want to stay in Vancouver. It's pretty obvious. I think anyone who has paid attention to hockey a little bit has seen that. Quinn is unhappy. You've now made it a point where, well, you know, Luke is locked up, Jack is locked up. You want to play with your brothers, Quinn, you got to go to New Jersey. That's the meat and the potatoes of it. But it's like,
and from what we saw from Four Nations last year, when you put brothers together, the Tkachuk brothers, right?
Yeah.
They're monsters.
Oh yeah,
they're absolutely nasty. They have so much like ability to play off each other. They know what each other's gonna do. Like, we've historically seen that when family play together, they perform better.
Yeah. No, and I think a lot of conversation is happening now because Luke just got this contract and another player that got one that we'll talk about in a minute, but 7x9, a lot of people, well, no, let's say how it is. Canadians fans have been all over social media saying, all right, well, Luke got paid. Why doesn't Lane Hudson get paid? Lane Hudson had an unreal fucking rookie season last year. As a defenseman, he was one of the best offensive weapons for Montreal that they had. But here's my thing. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. He had an unreal season. All right, but you've got him locked up as an RFA for a while. I don't want to see him get signed to a big deal until at least halfway through this season this year.
Right.
Because, I mean,
Well,
you think about, yes, Lane was a savage last year. I had him on my fantasy team. He was fucking crazy. But it's like, I am not in the business of paying a rookie in his second year after 1 year. Like, yeah, sure.
mhm.
Let's not sugarcoat it. Lane Hudson's going to have an unreal career in the NHL. But if I'm
You
front
gotta
office
earn
in
it.
Montreal,
You
yeah, but if
gotta
I'm
earn
front
it.
office in Montreal, I want to make sure that it wasn't a splash in the pan. I'm going to look at this in January and February and be like, all right, Lane, you know what? Let's have the conversation. Let's talk about it. Because you want to lock up someone that good as an offensive defenseman. You want to lock somebody up like him for a long time.
hmm
Now, when it comes to other um other defensemen that just signed, the Ducks just re-signed Jackson Lacombe to an 8-year extension. That is an 8x9 contract. Um,
Now,
it's
as a Ducks fan, how do you feel about that?
from a bias standpoint, Jackson Lacombe had a fucking great year last year. For the team to be where they were, he did a great job. I think it's smart for them to sign a young player.
Yep.
From a non-biased standpoint, I think someone with as much upside as Jackson Lacombe has shown, Anaheim had no choice. He's a young defenseman. He's what, 24?
Yep.
Like,
24. Let's
I
see. He
mean,
was selected 39 in the
yeah,
2019 drafts. He has 60 points in his 148
yeah.
career
He
games.
had 43 points last year in 75 games. He had 14 goals, which was a
Yeah.
franchise record for a defenseman last year. Jackson
Yeah.
Lacombe is equally responsible for the Ducks jumping massively in the point standings comparative to the season before. Um, I think this was the right deal. I mean,
Yeah.
what if you're front office and you've got the ability to wrap this kid up, and next year he he has the ability to go somewhere else? What are your thoughts? Like,
Well, but here's the thing. He loves Anaheim. He
yeah,
loves the team. He loves the fans, right?
yeah,
Last year, he had the opportunity to compete in the U.S. Men's Olympic Championship
yeah,
and help them win gold for the first time in 92 years, which is
in
massive.
the World Championships, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's a good sign-in.
He's
He's a
24.
proven player. Right. If he's going to be like Ovi, dude, he's got 16 more years left of him before he's
If
even
not
40.
more.
Right.
I think this is a great pickup, or not a great pickup, but I think it's a great signing. Like they re-signed Mason McTavish. Granted, yes, that contract took
Finally.
way longer
Finally.
than it needed to actually happen. The
Finally.
the idea that took all the way for him to miss training camp games and just OTAs and stuff. Fucking stupid Pat Verbeek, you're already on Duck's shit list because you traded Zegras for nothing. But I think you gotta lock a kid like Jackson up, and the upside is so high.
Mhm.
You have to be willing to take that bet.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and that's the thing with Anaheim right now is they're kind of teetering on, are we going to be great this year or are we going to continue to struggle, right?
yeah,
And I think locking in these players is solidifying what they need, which is consistency.
yeah, no, I
And
agree.
that consistency is going to allow them to build a team, and that team is going to build confidence in each other and knowledge on how to play together, and that's going to bring them closer. And fly Ducks fly, they're going to kill it.
You have a young team now. You have a young
Yeah.
squad of guys like Lacombe, Troy Terry, Leo Carlson. You have Cutter Gauthier, Lucas Dostal. Like there is a young core that is there. And I mean, I guess Troy Terry's been there for a bit, but it's still like Troy Terry's a good guy. Then you brought in last year guys like Truba. You brought in Frank Vetrano this season in the offseason. You brought in a guy like Chris Kreider. You bring in, granted, yes, we're essentially just bringing in the ex-Rangers Avengers at this point. But like, you're bringing in that veteran presence that that team needs. And I think Anaheim is poised to take a big step this year. And I feel like everyone should be disappointed if they don't. They're setting themselves up for success.
Mhm.
And I think anything but playoffs is unacceptable this season, personally.
Right.
And
No, and
that's coming from someone who's removing the fact that I am a Ducks fan. Like, just from an analytical standpoint, it's playoffs or bust. It has to be.
well, and they were so close last year.
They made
had
what,
a
was
mid
it 22-point jump from last season to the year before?
Yeah. They had a mid-season turnaround, pulled their shit together, got what they needed to, and almost made it.
Yeah, they were realistically in the
Almost
hunt
made it,
for a while.
right?
Yeah.
This will be the year that I think we will see them get back into the playoffs, and it'll be the first time since 2018 that they're able to do it. Yeah. So fingers crossed. This is what they need. This is the magic sauce, and they can do it.
When we look at other teams finally wrapping up the rest of their roster, the Minnesota Wild re-signed goaltender Philip Gustafsson to a 5-year, $34 million deal. That's average is about equal, or it's around like a 6.8 AAV. Gus had a solid year last year.
Yeah.
58 games played. He won 31 games last year. I mean, goals against average 2.56, a save percentage of .914. He had 5 shutouts last year, a goalie goal, and an assist. So
That's
not only was he
disgusting.
winning games and being a brick wall in the net, he was helping offensively.
Which we love goalie goals, and that's one of the most impressive things you can do.
Well, and I think this is smart on the side for Minnesota, because they've got that kid. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but that they brought him up, or they're bringing him up from Iowa. You've obviously, Gus did what he could do last year behind Fleury. I'm pretty sure Gus took the brunt of the starts, if I remember correctly, but still, like, having the ability to sit behind Marc-Andre Fleury and learn from one of the best to do it, that's only going to help. And you're talking about a team who has re-signed Rossi, who has re-signed Boldy, who has re-signned Kirill Kaprizov to the biggest contract in NHL history. What you're doing is you're setting yourself up for the fact that you have a first-round playoff team, but you need to figure out how to get past the first round.
Yep.
And again, you're gonna sit here and let Gus walk, because there are 31 of the teams that are gonna look and go, Philip, hey, how you doing?
Right.
You want to play for us? Like, you're gonna have people chomping at the bit,
and they're chomping at the bits, not just because he's a good goalie, but like you said earlier, he learned from Mark Fleury. He got to play with him.
27. He's in the perfect position in his career. I mean, this is a second round pick in the NHL draft in 2016. Like, the upside was there for a while, but you got to think his first 2 years were in Ottawa, where they were dog shit.
Yeah.
And he's only gotten better. Last year, he had a career year, 2022, 23. He had 22 wins, 23, 24, 20 wins. His goals against kind of went down. They fluctuated the year before, but last year was his best career year. I don't see why he hasn't earned this contract. And you got to start him. He has to be your number one guy.
Oh, he has to. He's earned that right.
Yeah.
And with what you're paying him, he deserves that right.
6.8. Yeah, you're starting me at 6.8.
You're not going to pay someone that kind of cash and have them sit on the bench, because what's the minimum requirement for a goalie for their yearly pay is like $750,000.
I would have to look into the CBA. I'm not quite sure. I haven't read the CBA.
I think last I checked, it was really low. It was really low like that.
Yeah.
I think it was disgustingly low like that.
Matt Murray got signed to a league minimum, I believe.
Yeah, so if you're paying him over 7 times.
Yeah, you're paying him 6.8. He's got to be your starter.
You got to put him out there. You got to get your money's worth.
I really like the thought of him being a starter. I think I'm okay with that. I think Minnesota has a bright future. Here's my biggest thing. You've just re-signed Boldy, Rossi, and Kaprizov. They all need to go out and earn it. I don't want to see a dead shift from Kaprizov all season. I want to see this team be a real threat to go deep into the playoffs because the roster's there. They have the team. And this is the first year they don't have the dead cap from the Parise and the Ryan Suter contract. So they're paying all this money. They're kind of backloading some of it the way that they're doing it. I don't think we're done seeing them make moves. They might be a team that you call up on for the trade deadline to be like, we've got a little extra. We can make a play here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and as a reminder, Kaprizov's contract was 8-year, $136 million.
So he's getting 17
that is a $17
year.
million AAV contract.
But I think the one thing we didn't really talk about, because obviously Danger took the brunt of that, and because she's a Wild fan, so you got to let her, really give us the lowdown on that. But here's my thing, and I was thinking about it. What's the lesser of two evils in that scenario? 8 years, 136 is a lot, but I would say he's probably a top 10 player. Do you pay him 17 a year, or do you let him walk? What is the lesser of two evils? Seeing him play for another team,
right,
or paying him 17 a year?
And here's the thing: what did we see last year with Marchand? He asked for more money. He didn't get it.
He went to a team and won a Stanley Cup.
And now he's staying with that team for probably the remainder of his NHL career.
He'll finish out
because
his career
the Panthers know what they have and will never let him go.
No, then there's no need to, because he was such an offensive piece for them that helped. And they're going to need all the help they can get this year, especially because we're probably going to have to wait a month or two before we even hear anything for Barkov being declared done for the year or not. So it's like, But no,
he's a prime example of what happens if you don't take that risk. Pay your players more.
I love this move by Minnesota. I do. I love them paying Gus. I think that team, again, like I said, they need to show me that they're more than a first round team. They need to actually make a deeper run in the playoffs. Personally,
yeah, absolutely.
I think. You did mention the Panthers. The Panthers in the past few days have really spent time in the spotlight because the battle for Florida is on. If you guys did not catch those games, the last two times they played obviously the other night they played. Which games did they play? We had a game on the 2nd and we had a game on the 4th. 5-2 was the score for the Tampa Bay Lightning on the 2nd. We're talking 186 penalty minutes between the game.
Holy shit. And a majority of those were on Florida. 104 went to
fucking
to,
57
the Panthers.
hits between the two teams. It got real aggressive, but then it got even worse on the 4th. Obviously, that was yesterday. For us, for time of recording was Saturday night. 312 penalty minutes. 16 players were ejected from the game. And then the Panthers ended up winning 7-0.
It would have been 8-0, but they took a goal from them.
Yeah, Nico Mikkola. I think it was Nico Mikkola got ejected. He stayed on the ice.
Yep, and got a goal.
Got an assist. And they're like, you're not supposed to be playing. And they took it off the board.
Yeah. Which, wow, Florida beat the crap out of Tampa Bay on that. And that's massive because that is the only game that Tampa Bay lost in preseason.
Well, so what do you make of these two games? Obviously, the first time these guys played earlier last week was more tame.
Yeah.
But what do you make of this? That's about 500 penalty minutes, give or take a couple, but that's about 500 penalty minutes.
I'll be honest, I think that Florida...
Hits-wise, you're over 100 plus hits between two games.
Right. I think the Panthers went in, and the Panthers and the Lightnings went into the game last week, and they were like, hey, preseason, let's play it, right? Like, the Lightning destroyed them. Like, in my opinion, a 5-2 is you just got your shit.
That's a 3-goal loss. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a full destroy, but like that's 3 goals is 3 goals.
The Panthers walked in being like, hey, we are back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. You guys suck. So they had an attitude on them and they got beat by the Lightning. But the Panthers had more penalty minutes. So I think Tampa Bay going into the game the other
No,
day.
the Panthers didn't have more penalty minutes.
Yeah, they did. They had 104.
The Lightning had the first game. The second game, the Lightning had 182
Yeah.
compared to Florida's 140.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
the Panthers played rough on the first game.
Second game, it got real. Yeah.
So the Lightning went into the second game and was like, hey, we're undefeated in preseason. We can afford to lose one. Let's focus on just sticking it to them, letting them know what's up. And
right, in that vein, it's more the thought of everyone pushed us around for so long, and now we're the Kings. Yep. We've won the last two fucking Stanley Cups. We are the team, and we're not going to be pushed around anymore. So they're going to push back. And I think that's what we saw, because the Lightning for the last 20 years have been Big Brother and Florida has been Little Brother. Tampa has had the players, they've had the team, they've had the franchises. They've won more cups. Yep. They were dominant. And now Florida goes, we're bigger than you now. We're not afraid of you anymore, and we're going to fucking assert our dominance. And I think they did. Yeah. And I think this is going to be I think it's a thing we're going to be seeing. It's going to be a trend. We are going to see Florida just beating the fuck out of people and just physically asserting their dominance. Because
and here's the thing,
there's no reason for them. There's no reason for them not to. Is really where I'm looking at.
The second game, the Lightning had 15 shots on goal.
Yeah.
The Panthers had 38.
Yeah.
So the Panthers are like, no, we're here to play, because the Panthers are bottom of preseason for their division.
Well, and you think you're without Matthew Tkachuk, you're without Alexander Barkov, like you're missing two players, one of which you most likely won't see this year. Like the sound is Tkachuk will be back, I want to say December, January, but there's question if Sasha Barkov even plays this year.
Right. So Tampa Bay literally went into that game and was like, we're going to fight you guys. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
We don't want to play hockey. This is a boxing arena. We are going to show you that we are the better team in Florida.
We're going to show you violence, is what you're going to get.
Which is funny, because it seems that the interstate and inter-province rivalries are starting to take off. Because, like that started preseason. Everyone's like, holy shit. Like they're already fighting like this.
100 penalty minutes in that game too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit more of a tame version of this, but people do things different in Florida, right?
Yes, they do.
But I truly expect that when we see the Senators and the Leafs go against each other and the Lightning and the Panthers go against each other, we will have historical matches that are battles.
We are far from done in Florida. There's 0% chance that this is the last time these two. D had brought it up earlier, either last night or today in the Discord chat. This is a blood feud now. This is for fucking keeps every time these two teams play each other, and I expect to see fireworks with Tampa and Florida play each other. Like there's nothing showing me that it's gonna be a calm game, and they're gonna meet several times this season.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? I think the next time they play, you're going to see one of two things. You're either going to see Florida instigate more fights to get their payback, or you're going to see Tampa play a more reserved game and put their dispute on the scoreboard instead of in the penalty box.
I mean, you have two players from each team that'll be receiving a fucking Department of DOP safety or hearing.
They went nuts.
Yeah, you've got JJ Moser and Scott Sabourin. They're both facing earrings tomorrow. Like, I don't. It's insane, and I mean, I feel like we should probably talk about fines and the fact that, hey, who would you think, if you're gonna look at a name, the first person fined this season? Do you have a guess on who that could be?
Who it could be?
Yeah, who could it be? Who would be the one player that would make the most sense that he was fined before anyone else this season?
I want to say Chuck, but he's not even playing.
No, it's Nick Cousins.
Right.
Nick Cousins was
would
fined the maximum allowable of the CBA, $2,148.44 for slashing Montreal Canadiens forward Ivan Demidov,
yeah.
there we go, during the NHL preseason game in Quebec City on September 30th. The incident occurred 7:22 into the third period. Cousins was assessed a 2-minute minor penalty for slashing. That money obviously, like it normally goes to the player's emergency assistant fund. When I saw this, it was the shock face. I was like, oh my God, Nick Cousins is getting a fine. Oh my God. Bro.
But I know we talked about this last season, and if you followed the show for a while, then you know that this is something that we consistently harp on. These players are being paid millions of dollars, and he got a $2,000 fine.
Yeah, I had sent the snapshot earlier in the week when it happened. Elliot Friedman had tweeted it out, and the first comment the first comment took me out. It's just good. Yeah, that'll teach him.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it because I know you shared it. Right
yeah,
here.
I shared it.
The first comment, that'll teach him.
Yeah, because this is just.
I mean, it's nothing, and we talked about how in the PWHL where their penalties
they become more and more severe each time.
Yeah, and their penalties hurt because of the amount that they get paid.
Why don't you guys go Google Nick Cousins and go look at all the times he's been suspended and fined? Like, you're willing to suspend Tom Wilson 17 fucking games for an infraction after a while, but why are the fines not going up? That's right. A question I have for the CBA.
I mean, you guys, you raised the cap for money you can pay players, so why not raise the fines a little bit?
Yeah.
It all goes to the player assistance program, which is a very wonderful program.
And we talk about how great that program is that they have, but it's just like, I can't. And I mean, obviously you look at like the Lightning and Panthers, which in 2 games, or not even just in 1 game, you had 65 penalties. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But at some point, we need to start cracking down and be like, listen, you can't be doing this shit. And I don't know if you guys saw it. The slash was pretty egregious. Like Nick Cousins being Nick Cousins. Ottawa needs to fucking offload him because, like, at what point do you look at him in the locker room and go, all right, well, he's a liability?
After something happens.
It's after something happens, yeah.
Because unfortunately, that is the way that society works. Is it's better to be reactive than proactive.
Yeah,
that's how it goes, So,
yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't get to that point, but
we'll see. Obviously, I don't expect Nick Cousins to be clean the rest of the season. I expect something to happen because that's just Nick Cousins. And
eventually, he's going to put a target on his back, and someone's going
to fuck him up. He's going to get lit up in center ice. That's what's going to happen.
You're going to do it to the wrong player at the wrong moment, and
you're going to do it to someone like Pat Maroon, and he's going to fucking eat you alive. Do it to go to Boston and do it to Pastrnak. See what Pasta does. That's a big motherfucker.
Big scary boy.
Well, obviously now we are a couple days away. The next episode of Pucked Up the actual main pod will be dropped on the first day of regular season. So, Maul, would you like to go over the preseason roundup, the preseason standings before we get going into the regular season?
Yeah, so preseason's officially done. It is over. It was a wild preseason and probably one of my favorite ones to watch ever.
Crazy.
Some of the names at the top of the list make sense. Some of the names at the bottom of the list, no shocker there. So let's get into it. So in the Eastern Conference and the Atlantic Division, we have the Tampa Bay Lightnings leading the way with a 6-win, 1-loss streak. They have a total of 12 points and dominated the Atlantic Conference. At the bottom, we have a 3-way tie between the Ottawa Senators, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Florida Panthers. And like I said, I think that the Panthers being at the bottom fed into some of the rage and aggression that we saw
Well,
both times that they went to Florida, because one team's at top, one team's at the bottom. And you know what? To see the Panthers at the bottom, I think that that's a shock.
yeah. And I mean, I don't know how much I'm willing to read into a preseason stat for the Panthers. I feel like they'll be all right come playoff time. Like I don't see an issue with them being towards the top. But again, you're missing two of your key players.
Well,
And
we also have to take into consideration that they don't run their first lines every game. They're letting
yeah,
the rookies play. They're letting other people who don't get ice time. They're trying new things. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces, right? But results are still results, and a lot
correct,
of
yeah.
people analytically are going to be using these to judge the way you're starting your season,
Mhm.
because nothing matters until Wednesday, when the season actually starts, right?
Yeah.
But I think that this does give us a little bit of an insight into hopefully what to expect and maybe not to expect.
Yeah.
But the Metropolitan Division, you had the Pittsburgh Penguins leading with 11 points, and you had the Columbus Blue Jackets and Carolina Hurricanes both tied in dead last with 4 points. I'm not surprised. I'm honestly not. And the Capitals were 1 point behind
I
the
am
Penguins.
I am surprised with the Hurricanes. That one is a little shocking. That team is great, but obviously a lot of pieces got moved last year.
Yeah.
You lost
And I
Martin
mean,
Necas, you lost um
the
I mean
Carolina
they ended up with
Hurricanes, they
Miko for
only
a bit too. Like
they only won one game.
yeah.
They lost 3 in regulation
And
and
they
lost
lost
2
two
in
in
overtime.
overtime. I think that
Like,
that's the surprise. Columbus isn't that much of a surprise, I don't think. Obviously, last year they had, for moral purposes, with everything that went down with the
that kind of
Goudreau
hurt them.
brothers.
Yeah.
But this year it's like I'm not surprised because they didn't blow my mind in the offseason. Like they
Right.
didn't really do a lot in free agency. So that's
Right.
my I'm not super shocked. I'm not shocked that the Caps are up there. But the Penguins, that is kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
I literally my dad's a Pens fan, so we were talking about it, and I said this is the year that let's be honest, if by February or January Erik Karlsson's still not doing anything, if I'm Kyle Dubas, I'm looking to offload him
Yep.
because he didn't do
Yeah.
shit last
Absolutely.
year.
Right. So,
So
you know what though? The spread between the Atlantic Division teams and the Metropolitan Division teams was far less. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like the Atlantic team, as always, they're very close to each other. It's a lot of neck and neck. A lot of the teams were within 1 point of each other. Where when you go down to the Metropolitan, there's a lot of a
yeah,
larger
no,
spread.
correct.
So you do see a lot of that. And I mean, to be fair, there is a huge competition for greatness in the Atlantic Division when you compare them to, I feel, about some of the other
And the
divisions.
Penguins have something to prove this year because that team has been a
Oh
bit
yeah,
rough over the past couple of
yep,
years.
yeah,
And they have a lot to prove this year. I mean, you need
and
to
they did
step the fuck
phenomenal.
up big time.
Yeah, yeah, and they had a phenomenal preseason, and I hope that they can continue that. And I would like to see the Capitals continue it.
Yeah.
I want to see how high Ovi can set that record before he decides to call
Well,
it.
he's talking about re-signing,
He's crazy,
but
but
he's
he'll
playing
do
at
it
the
just
top of
to
his
do it.
game. It's the same
Right.
with Crosby. Crosby is playing better than Crosby's playing as good as he's been playing for the last 10 years. Like I just it's
And
ridiculous how insane these two are.
getting to watch Crosby play and get a goal on Four Nations last year, highlight of my life.
That's right, yeah,
He was
because you were at Four Nations
fantastic.
last year.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I watched him friggin' lay someone out center ice and then get a goal from the blue.
I'd
And
say that's
honestly, it was
classic
amazing.
Crosby.
Yep. So heading over to the Western Conference, we have the Central Division. The Dallas Stars took first.
That's not a surprise.
And on the other end of it, the Chicago Blackhawks were last, which
Also
again
not a
is
surprise.
not a surprise. That division was very close. Dallas was the only one to get double-digit points. Everyone else was in 1 point of one another. They were very,
Yeah.
very close in that division.
I mean, I'm not shocked. Look at the success that Dallas had last year. I feel like
Yeah.
seeing them and Colorado be there is good. I think seeing Nashville looking a little better than they did last year in the preseason, and obviously
It's promising, yeah.
preseason is nothing comparative to the regular season. The Predators can only go up.
Yeah. And you know what? You got the
You couldn't
Minnesota
go any
Wild. They're
lower
kind
than
of
Nashville did last year. You can't.
right.
They were fucking
Right.
awful. You brought in great players and you didn't do shit. You brought in Jonathan
Sure.
Marchessault. You brought in Steven Stamkos. Like, there was no reason that team should have been as bad as they were, but they
They
had a
were.
rough year. So
Yeah.
you can't go any high. You can't go any lower.
Yeah.
So if this is a sign of things to come, I'm looking forward to it this year. But I'm not
Absolutely,
shocked
dude.
with Chicago. They didn't do anything that surprised me in the offseason. I mean, you paid
Right.
Lazar or Nazar, you paid some of your guys, but it's like you're fucking you're killing Connor Bedard here. Like, the
Yeah.
kid
Holding his
deserves.
ass back.
Yeah, you're holding him back from actually like blossoming. So I don't know. Hopefully they figure it out this season, but I don't. I'm not confident. I'm not confident.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And and you have Minnesota Wild. They're in the middle of the pack, which honestly, I mean, that's where I expected them to be because guess what? They are a team that when push comes to shove, they will step up and they will show up when
They'll
it's
be
time
there.
comes.
They will be there in
Yep.
April. They'll be there in
Yeah.
April. They'll be there in May.
And honestly,
I'm not worried about them.
I think that the teams who are in the middle of the pack in all these divisions found what works for them, right? They tested things and they maintained.
Yeah.
They didn't play their star players and got to the number one in the preseason, or they didn't play their star players and were in the dead last. They were middle of the pack. I think a lot of these teams that we see in the center of these divisions
Yeah.
are the ones that we have to watch the most.
I
Because
see that the teams that I see here are the teams that really didn't make a lot of changes in the offseason.
correct. And I think that that's going to make them dangerous in regular
Yeah.
season.
Like,
Um,
I fully believe that the Central goes to Dallas anyway. Like,
yeah.
that team is poised to make a cup final soon and probably win one because you've got such a great goaltender, Jake Ottinger. I mean, Jason Robertson's amazing. I don't see a world where Dallas isn't competing for a championship within the next year or two. Like, that's how good they are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, so when we head over to the Pacific Division, we have a two-way tie for number one in the division with the Los Angeles Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. I do want to give a shout out to the Anaheim Ducks because they were behind by 1 point.
4-2-1. That's a really good start to a preseason.
That's fantastic. And I truly believe that if they would have gotten to play an extra game like the Oilers did, they would have
They
probably
could have been, yeah, right up there.
we probably would have seen a
preseason.
three-way tie. Yeah, no, they absolutely killed it. So good on them, and I truly, like I said, I think that the only reason we don't see them in double digits is because they didn't get that extra game like the Oilers did.
Yeah, and I mean, that is what it is.
On the other end of the stick, to no one's surprise, the San Jose Sharks are in dead last with four points.
Again, it's the same situation as the Chicago Blackhawks. It's like that team needs a lot of work. They have a lot of youth that I think they can build around. I mean, obviously, Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini are going to be the focal point of that team for the next 5-10 years. But you gotta let them build around. You gotta let them earn their places in the sense of they've both experienced their rookie seasons. Now you really gotta let them blossom. So
I will say the one team that stood out to me the most in the Pacific Division is the Vegas Golden Knights.
I'm not shocked by that.
I'm really shocked. Happy because Marner went over there, but I'm shocked.
That's why I'm not shocked. You're injecting a team that didn't really need anything. You're injecting Mitch Marner into that. That changes the entire chemistry of that team. You now
because
need to figure
Marner's
out
not going in there.
You need to make sure Marner feels comfortable in that environment. I don't think that Vegas is going to start off immediately hot. I think maybe October, November might be a little nah for them, and I feel like they'll get it together. But I'm not fully shocked that they didn't win a bunch of games in the preseason because you're injecting a major scorer into an already unreal offense.
Right.
So it's not massively surprising.
I do want to give a shout out though to the Calgary Flames because they lost in a shootout in one of the most ridiculous ways possible. Did you see that clip?
I didn't.
So I can't remember who the player was on the Winnipeg Jets, but going against for a shootout, hits the puck goes up, goalie fumbles it, accidentally pushes it into the net.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
And that
No.
is the only game that the Calgary
was that
Flames
Hellebuck
lost in
in net
overtime.
for Winnipeg?
Let me see who it was. No, it was Hellebuck. I don't know who was in for Winnipeg,
Was
but dude,
Or for the
seeing them
Flames?
lose like that, dude, was just
Dude, that's
oh,
brutal.
because that was the only game they lost in overtime. And not only that, if they would have won that game, that would have put them ahead of the Seattle Krakens and tied for
I
Vancouver.
want
They
to
would
give
have
some
been
love to the
towards the
Kraken
top.
too. I mean, 3-2-1 isn't bad for a team that's really still trying to figure out who the fuck they are. And they
Yeah.
might have the best third jerseys in the NHL now.
Oh my God, the
They're
glow in the dark
so
jerseys are so
good.
cool.
We have a lot of new jerseys this year.
We gotta play more of the black jerseys with the bright fluorescent colors.
And
I
they
love
glow in
those
the
so
dark.
much.
I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Like, I'm not a Kraken fan, but I 100% want one of those jerseys. Just to see
Same
the
with the
glows in the
Dallas
dark for
Stars.
real.
That black and green jersey
dude.
is so dope.
My favorite though, which to no shock because it's my two favorite colors, is the Hurricanes with the black and red, dude.
Yeah, and then their away jersey, which they changed with the red and black logo. I think that's kind of crazy. Final thoughts on what you're expecting for this season before we I'd say we make our playoff or Stanley Cup predictions, but you're gonna have to tune in on Wednesday for the main pod to hear that. But
When all
what
four of us
are
do it
your
together.
overall takeaways from the preseason?
I think that we learned a lot in the preseason. We saw a lot of teams try a lot of things that didn't work. We saw a lot of teams that did things that worked. There's a lot of new players. There's a lot of new symmetry. There's a lot of new understand how each other play that they had to develop. I think that going into the regular season, you're going to see a lot of tempers flare based off how preseason. I hope that the coaches can dial the reins in on those a little bit and be like, hey, guys, we have like 100 games to get these figured out. Or no, sorry, we have like 80 something games to play against these people to get this stuff figured out. Let's set ourselves high in the standings. And then once we're destroying them on the scoreboard, then we beat them in the penalty box.
Do you think Matthew Schaefer makes a big enough splash to propel the New York Islanders to the playoffs?
I do not think so. I think that team needs more than just him to get him there, to get the team there.
Yeah.
You cannot carry a team on your back. This is unfortunately not a sport where
It's not
one
basketball.
player can carry.
Yeah, you can't,
You cannot do it. You have to have the coercive, you have to have the team element there. And without it, you cannot do it. So he's going to help. And I think that his leadership in the locker room is going to be detrimental to the future of the team.
They needed to add a player like Schaefer. I think they were missing that key piece on defense.
Yeah. And I think without it, it's going to be, it's going to be hard, but I truly believe that, it does take one player to make a difference in the locker room. It just doesn't take, it takes the whole team to make a difference on the ice.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think that's all we got today. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, let you know anytime we upload anything new. Make sure you're checking out Wednesdays for the main podcast. As you're seeing, every Monday we will have this weekend whistle. It'll always be myself. Sometimes it'll be Maul, sometimes it'll be Danger, sometimes it'll be D. It really depends. Sometimes it'll be multiple. It's kind of whoever's going to show up, but you'll always see my lovely face. And we're just going to do what we're doing here, cover a bit of everything that we're not going to talk about always on the podcast. So thank you guys so much. We will see you guys again on Wednesday, and we'll catch you in the face-off circle next